Today we are continuing our series with Sami about the XLA contract. And today we are going through the recommendations. We are talking about XLA 1.0, XLA 2.0, and also giving you an actual recommendation template that you can use with your provider. But maybe Sami, first, let's tackle again a little bit like what do we mean about XLA, the different data related to it, and what is XLA 1.0, what is XLA 2.0.
Yeah.
And I guess the whole point comes into, again, our definition slide, which is saying that XLA means X data, O data, T data, which means experience data, operational data, and technical data. And of course, you can put it into this people, process, technology format as well.
Yeah,
but maybe if you want to go through in the 1.0 and 2.0.
Yeah, so when summarizing this is that this 0.0 is focused on the experience data. And that is our recommendation that you start by focusing on that one. And then XLA 2.0 is including the tech data and operational data. And in this way, it is much easier to roll out this to your organization. And there is some content in our web pages and these webinars and so on, or podcast about the people, process, tech, and what we talked about then it was in that order.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing when you are talking about how to implement these to the agreement, start from that experience data part, because that is the one that drives the behavior of your own IT, your partners. The others are giving you data, how you are working.
Yeah.
Understanding, but you have to get the priorities, what to improve from people, not tech.
Yeah, so basically as the acronym XLA says, you first need to have the X to start an XLA. You can't do it other way around, but then you can go deeper and you can make it more.
And you need that in a long run. Yeah, it makes the whole operations much easier to understand what to improve and so on.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense to have them in agreement to be in a beginning.
Yeah, but then definition of 1.0 and kind of starting here, you talked a little bit more about it, but kind of if we start actually going through it, what does it mean? We have these few bullet points that we want to go through. So our recommendation on it. So go ahead, Sami.
So yeah, I think we have summarized our recommendations to 6 different things. The first one is that. Sorry, I lost my thinking there.
That's why. So when driving XLAs and experience management, focus on changing the way of working compared to focusing on reaching a certain target level.
Oh, that was a long sentence.
Yes.
But what that means is that don't do it in a way that you set just numbers in the agreement. This is the level, because we talked about earlier on this episode that will just get what is enough level.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work. That doesn't optimize your growth. It just is a way of controlling your provider that they deliver the minimum. It doesn't help you to get better, and your agreements most likely are quite long.
Yeah.
So focus on changing the way of working, and that is the second bullet. That in agreement, forget about how you did it with the SLAs. It's totally different now.
Yeah.
You agree the way of working, and the important part here is you agreed both sides. It is not only the provider that is responsible for this. In a way, what we believe is that you cannot really outsource the experience of your end users. You are always responsible for that, but you have to get your partner to do it together with you. So it's the way of working that you agree rather than exact target numbers.
Yeah.
And here, one thing what you can do is using, for example, our ITXM framework to describe more precisely what is the way of working.
Yeah.
Or you can list those things that are done on both sides.
Yeah, and I think this is important because there are also outside things that affect the experience, and they might change. But if you have the way of working and agreeing that this is what the XLA means, it's just you can tackle those, things that just happen that you can't control, and then you have a method of actually, okay, let's still focus on improving the experience even though something went bad.
Yeah.
And it's not about who to blame type of situation.
Yeah. It's your provider cannot make a decision if you are forcing your employees come to work at the office.
Yeah.
But it influences the overall IT experience for sure.
Yeah. Or you made a cost saving decision to change your ERP to something else, which in the beginning doesn't work as the old one did, and it's a change for employees, and you just need to deal with it. Yeah.
Agree, and I think this is a good point also from the perspective of the third bullet that
yes.
agree a way of setting priorities.
Yeah.
And in the white paper, we are talking about this quite a lot, but our recommendation is that do this together. So this is the IT leadership decision, whatever levels you have there, but this needs to be a commitment from the leadership of IT. What is important for the next 6 months? And there are two things here. The things where you are lacking in experience, what you see from the ITXM tools, that, okay, this is the thing what we should be focusing on because of bad experience or lost time. But then it is the strategic aspect. Every organization is changing something in their strategy. They are moving to some direction. They are going to new markets. They are changing platforms. Or IT changing ERP or something. So there are areas that are more important from expert perspective during certain time periods. So it's not about that one average number. No, you can use ITXM to support those actions that they are doing anyway. Many organizations in these fun times are doing a lot of kind of like automation. True. AI coming into how we feel about that. If those are strategic initiatives of your IT, why wouldn't you measure the experience and focus on experience on those ones? Because there is the biggest change.
Yeah.
Fourth thing is the penalties and rewards. We had an episode on this one and shortly said, don't do it on SLAs or don't even do it on XLAs. More important is that you don't do it in SLAs because that will be conflicting with the XLAs. Yeah. More than happy to be challenged by that one, but there's so many cases that are proving that to be the truth. But anyway, but not even XLAs, don't do those because it doesn't give you a big boost of how much better you are in a 1 year, 2 year time. It is quite complicated to be fair and still get motivated and so on. And as you Pasi said, things change. And then you have one number there, it doesn't help you in anything. It's just kind of maybe causing that, okay, we can be now happy we are over the target, but then we are not maximizing the results. Yeah.
And there are like very simple cases like a customer setting some SLAs and kind of penalties to how you handle chat. And then they realize together, actually we did a stupid decision, let's change it back. Yeah. So now if you already had it in a contract, then it would be very difficult to start changing it. So just understand that things can happen on both sides. So also it's easier for everybody to just like go with this way of working and not on specific numbers. Yeah.
And I think rewards, when both the provider and customer are familiar with XLAs, you have done it for certain time. We talked about earlier that it is easier in the beginning to get your score up.
True.
So first year, typically, it is much better score in the end of the year. Much harder to get the same percentage change the next years from that.
Yeah.
And that's why kind of you will find a level what is kind of easy for you or kind of reasonable for you to reach. And then getting better is more like focusing on the things that are making people more efficient, and maybe your IT can be more efficient and still keep people happy. But that's the thing that at that time you might be able to do these rewards and stuff, but don't even try to do them in the beginning.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of like you could kind of call it like newbie gains. So basically in the beginning when you start looking at experience data and you start doing something, whatever it is, you're going to make big achievements.
True.
But if you don't really make it this consistent way of working that you do like every week, every month, and then you set targets like we mentioned in the beginning, like every 6 months or something like that, then that will stop. And suddenly it's not working. But it's just because, the first easy things made the big leaps. But then those small gains that you're gonna keep making, they are the ones that just need, consistency. You just need to keep doing, have a methodology, have everybody committed to the same goals, and that's how you're gonna.
And then maybe kind of a bit smaller tip for you guys when you're doing this is the last one. So when you are calculating kind of your official XLA score, or if you are having to use this in rewards or penalties, use minimum 2 months, or our recommendation is use 2 months score.
Yeah.
Experience is always changing a bit. It's like even every week when we have hundreds and thousands of feedbacks every week, we know that lowest scores are Monday.
True.
Every week it goes up, start the same. It's not a huge difference, but when you have thousands of feedback, you see the same trend. vacation times. Just before Christmas, don't do anything. People are really unhappy with IT. It's because we are so busy with everything.
Yeah.
Do surveys after summer holidays to get a high score.
True.
Because people are coming. Okay, there are easy tickets, maybe password resets and that kind of stuff. Maybe at least there was in past, but there are seasonal differences in the experience.
Yeah.
So, but it doesn't matter to find areas to improve.
Exactly.
But if you have numbers in agreement, it is either too easy or too hard.
Yeah, you still the same areas are still more frustrating and people are losing more time in the same areas, even though the numbers switch between these seasonal changes.
Yeah,
that's
so
because we are people. So
this is not about marketing how good IT is. This is about how we in IT can be better, creating more value. So that's why it's the overall number is not so important.
But to kind of keep in the theme of actually an example. So actually we have an example contract that you can do. So it's in this how to incorporate XLAs into outsourcing contracts white paper that we have on the website. And there's an appendix A, example XLA 1.0 contract. Yeah. So it's basically like this. You can almost like copy paste this one and use it as the basis. Anything you want to mention kind of on the template and how to use it, or?
Yeah, the only point, kind of use the template, but don't use it as it is. You have to kind of check, of course, what is your situation and how you're working and take in consideration your partner's situation and what you really ordered from them and so on. There is also the same thing for the XLA 2.0.
True.
So if you want to kind of on agreement level understand what are the differences in including the O data and T data, then you can see that most of it is the same, but there are some changes in there.
And if you want to actually learn more and actually hear from Sami and Neil about this topic as well, please join on the first ever ITXM Summit on the January 31st. It's going to be 11 CET time. There will be a link to the registration page on this show notes and the description. It's really about how to achieve outcomes with IT experience management. We have a few of our customers, Osvaldo Santos from Nestle and Chris Facey from the Campari Group, who explain how they lead, how they change their IT using IT experience management. And then there's a session with Neil, and I think some of you are also with Sakari going through a little bit of our global IT benchmark results. And I guess we'll kick it off also with a little keynote on about what is the whole topic that the human-centric IT will try to solve. But you will find the registration link. Hope to see you there, and of course we'll be here in the pink room. But then everybody else is joining, and you can have your chance to ask your questions in the live chats and so on.
Yeah. And Pasi, I think I have to go and look for better classes for myself when I was not able to read that one bullet from our cheating list in there.
Cool. Yeah. But hey, hope you enjoyed this episode. Go check out the white paper, and we'll be back in the next episode. But in the meanwhile, stay safe and stay happy.